The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the dusty train platform in Redemption Flats, a forgotten whistle stop in the heart of Texas. Jack Morrison had seen a lot in his 32 years as a ranch hand and cattle driver, but the sight before him made him pause mid-stride. A young woman sat on a weathered wooden bench, her faded gray dress patched in several places, her hands folded primly in her lap. 3 worn suitcases surrounded her like silent sentinels, and her eyes held a mixture of hope and desperation that made something twist in Jack's chest. He'd planned to grab supplies and head straight back to the ranch, but something about her stillness, her quiet dignity despite obvious hardship, made him hesitate. The platform was otherwise empty. The afternoon train had come and gone 2 hours ago, and the evening train wouldn't arrive for another 4. Jack approached slowly, his boots echoing on the wooden planks. As he drew closer, he could see she was younger than he'd first thought, maybe 23 or 24, with dark hair pulled back severely and eyes that had seen too much sorrow. "Ma'am," he said, tipping his hat. "You waiting for someone?" She looked up at him, and he saw her lower lip tremble before she caught it between her teeth. "I was," she said softly. "My brother. He was supposed to meet me here 3 days ago. I've been waiting. 3 days. Jack felt anger rise in his throat at the thought of anyone leaving a woman stranded like this. Maybe he got held up somewhere. Weather or work or he changed his mind about taking in his widowed sister and her burden. She interrupted, her voice barely above a whisper. She gestured to her small collection of belongings. "Everything I own is in these bags. I sold our farm back in Missouri after my husband died. Used the money for the train ticket here and a little to start over. My brother wrote that there was work here, that I could help him with his homestead. But I think maybe he reconsidered having a mouth to feed." Jack removed his hat, running a hand through his dark hair. He should walk away. He had his own problems, his own responsibilities back at the R Ranch. But something in her eyes, the way she sat with such fragile dignity despite being abandoned, reminded him of his own mother after his father had died. She'd had that same look, that same quiet strength masking deep fear. "What's your name, ma'am?" he asked. Sarah Brennan." "Well, Miss Sarah, I'm Jack Morrison, and I can't in good conscience leave you sitting here on this platform." Sarah's eyes widened. "I'm not asking for charity, Mr. Morrison. I don't know what to do. The station master said I can't sleep here another night, and I have no money left for a hotel or another ticket." Jack made a decision that he knew would complicate his life but felt right in his bones. "The ranch where I work, the R, they're looking for a cook and housekeeper. The last one retired a month back, and the men are surviving on beans and burnt biscuits. It's not glamorous work, but it's honest, and it comes with room and board." For the first time, hope flickered across Sarah's face, but then doubt clouded it again. "Why would you help me? You don't know me." "No, ma'am, I don't. But I know what it's like to need help and not get it. And I know what it's like to get help when you need it most. Someone gave me a chance once. Maybe it's time I paid that forward." Sarah stood slowly, smoothing her worn dress. "Mr. Morrison, Her voice cracked, and tears began sliding down her cheeks despite her obvious attempt to hold them back. "Please, don't leave me." Those 4 words hit Jack harder than any bronco had ever thrown him. He saw in that moment not just Sarah's fear, but every abandoned soul, every person who'd been left behind, forgotten or cast aside. His own father had left him and his mother when times got tough. He'd sworn then, as a boy of 12, that he'd never be that kind of man. He'd never turn his back on someone in need. "I won't," Jack said firmly, and he meant it with every fiber of his being. "I give you my word. Miss Sarah, I won't leave you." He picked up 2 of her suitcases, and she grabbed the 3rd. Together they walked to where his horse and wagon waited. As he helped her onto the wagon seat, he could feel her trembling. The 40-minute ride to the R Ranch was quiet at first. Sarah stared at the endless Texas landscape, golden grass rippling like waves in the wind, and Jack could only imagine what thoughts ran through her mind. Finally she spoke. "My husband Thomas, he was a good man. Got sick with fever last winter and was gone within a week. We had no children and no family nearby. When my brother's letter came offering a new start, it seemed like providence. I guess I was fooling myself." "You weren't fooling yourself," Jack said. "You were being brave. Takes courage to start over, To trust again after loss. Your brother, wherever he is. He's the fool, not you. Sarah wiped her eyes with a handkerchief. What if your employer doesn't want to hire me? What if I'm not good enough? Mrs. Callahan, who runs the Double R, is tough but fair. And she's practical. She needs help, you need work. That's a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned. When they arrived at the ranch, Jack's instinct proved correct. Martha Callahan, a stout woman in her 50s with silver-streaked hair and sharp eyes, took one look at Sarah and seemed to understand, everything without a word being spoken. You can cook? She asked. Yes, ma'am. And clean, mend, tend a garden, preserve food, and manage household accounts. Martha nodded. You're hired. Jack, show her to the housekeeper's cabin. Sarah, you start tomorrow at dawn. That night, as Jack walked back to the bunkhouse, he felt lighter than he had in years. He didn't know then that saving Sarah would change everything. Over the coming months, her presence would transform the ranch. Her cooking brought the scattered ranch hands together at mealtimes. Her quiet strength inspired others, and slowly, carefully, she and Jack would discover that sometimes the best things in life come from the moments when we choose compassion over convenience, when we stay instead of walking away. A year later, Jack would kneel on that same train platform where he'd found her, a ring in his hand asking Sarah to be his wife. And she would say yes, tears streaming down her face, because she'd learned that some cowboys keep their promises, that some people stay, and that please don't leave. Me had been the beginning of a love story. Neither of them had expected 5. Years passed like a gentle stream. Sarah and Jack built a life that neither had dared dream possible during those desperate days on that dusty platform. They had 2 children now, a boy named Thomas after Sarah's late husband, and a daughter, Grace. The ranch prospered under their care, and their home became known throughout the county as a place where stranded travelers could find help, a meal, and sometimes a new beginning. One autumn evening, a rider appeared at their door. It was Sarah's brother, weathered and broken, asking forgiveness. He'd been thrown in jail for debts the week he was supposed to meet her. Too ashamed to write, Sarah looked at Jack, who simply nodded and stepped aside. Come in, she said. There's always room at our table. That night, as they sat together, Jack realized that the choice he'd made on that platform hadn't just saved Sarah, it had saved him too.
Teaching him that love begins the
moment we choose to stay when everything tells us to walk away. Their story became legend in Redemption Flats, a reminder that one act of kindness can echo through generations. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel. We bring you real stories of courage, redemption, and the power of human kindness. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because every week we share inspiring tales that remind us what it means to be truly human. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful messages of hope. Join our community today and never miss a story that could change your perspective on life.